Welcome friends. Today we will learn about type 3 hypersensitivity. This hypersensitivity is mediated by immune complex. Immune complex means antibody and antigen complex. The ultimate result of this type 3 hypersensitivity is tissue damage. So let me draw some immune complex. Generally what happens, this immune complex can be cleared out by phagocytic cells. But if the immune complex is large in amount, so the reason behind this type 3 hypersensitivity is large amount of this immune complex. And as we know that this antibody and antigen are present in blood, so this is occurring into the blood vessels. So when this immune complex cannot be cleared by the phagocytic cells, then in the blood there is some cells, that is macrophage, mast cell, neutrophil. These cells have receptor for the antibody, that is called Fc receptor, by which it can bind with this immune complex. When this macrophage, mast cell, neutrophil bind with this immune complex, they start to secrete some molecules. Like mast cell can secrete vasoactive mediators. It could be histamine, it could be prostaglandin, it could be leukotrienes, and this neutrophil and macrophage secrete cytokine that actually increase the permeability of these blood vessels. Then this immune complex can come out from the blood vessels into the tissue site. Let's assume this is a tissue site. Not only that, many immune cells also reach into this tissue site. It could be neutrophils, it could be macrophage, it could be mast cells, and they secrete, like this neutrophil can secrete protease, it can secrete free radicals. Also this macrophage can also secrete these free radicals, and by the help of these molecules, free radicals, protease, tissue damage occur, because this protease can digest the basement membrane of tissue damage occur. And not only that, this immune complex can activate complement pathway, and as we know that during the complement pathway activations, some complement protein are fragmented into two segment. One is called larger segment and the smaller is called anaphylotoxins. So this complement protein is can produce complement pathway. By this complement pathway, small fragments, that is we call anaphylotoxin. This anaphylotoxin are the small segment or small fragment of complement protein. So this anaphylotoxin can also activate these cells, and ultimately inflammation occur. We could tell these inflammations vasculitis, we could call it glomerulonephritis, or we could call it arthritis. So depending on the tissue, we call it vasculitis if it is blood vessels. If the kidney tissue is damaged, then it is called glomerulonephritis. If joint tissue are damaged, then it is called arthritis. Now I will give you some example of type 3 hypersensitivity. The first is serum sickness. What happens in this case? If any individual receive antibody like monoclonal antibody derived from mouse or antibody from horse, then the individual generate antibody against that antibody. The symptom of the serum sickness are fever, skin rash. The second example of this type 3 hypersensitivity is Arthur's reactions. This is actually localized damage. If anyone is injected intradermally any antigen, and if that individual have antibody against that antigen, then it could be Arthur's reaction. And let's assume if any individual is bitten by any insect, he will immediately develop type 1 hypersensitivity, but later, after 4 to 10 hours later, they could generate these Arthur's reactions. The symptom of these Arthur reactions is erythema, and another is edema. This is also localized tissue damage. Erythema means redness. So when there is Arthur reaction, there will be redness, and edema means swelling. Systemic lupus erythematosus. There is another disease called multiple sclerosis, and we all know rheumatoid arthritis. And this type 3 hypersensitivity can also be happen due to some infections like malaria, trypanosoma. Okay.